Good morning. So I just got a self-tape audition and I'm not at home. I thought that this would be a great opportunity to show how I would set up for a self-tape audition at home when I'm not at home. You're gonna have to find an empty wall. This is literally the only empty wall in the entire house. Find a window, see what's behind it. This is what we got. This can be done in the smallest of small space. This is what I'm talking about. Wall. We have a pull-out couch. That's where I'm staying right now. And we got a suitcase back there. Step number 1, find a good window. Step number 2, see what's behind the wall. Clean out the space. Give yourself as much space as possible. And I'm gonna say to do this before you get ready. Otherwise you're gonna have unless you're like me, pit stains, and you're gonna get all ugly, and you want your hair and stuff to look as best as possible right before your audition. So clean out the space, then get ready. Let's do it. That's about as good as I'm gonna get. Cleared out the space. Luckily for me, this audition is only chest up, so I'm not gonna need to do full body or anything crazy, so I don't really need that much space. I want to show you some of the things that I bring with me everywhere. I think you should always have a go-to sort of thing, especially if you think you're gonna be auditioning when you're at home, not at home. I know that I have a wall like this. I've been here before, I know what the space is. This could work if you're just using this amount of space, but I wanted to be a little bit extra, and I thought that it would look a little nicer if I had a gray sort of backdrop. I don't have that, so I actually brought a giant, what do you call this thing? Sheet from home. So I will be pinning this up on the wall behind me. And I think that if you're, wow, I'm dying. I think that if you're at a hotel or at a friend's house, usually people have sheets. So you could do that. I always carry a little makeup sponge with pins. You could see here. So that way you can pin up your, whatever you choose to have your backdrop, you can use that as pins. And in a little baggie, just in case your pants fall out, you're not stuck. And this is obviously, in my opinion, I think the safest way so that nobody gets poked or it doesn't fall on your clothes, and that could be a disaster. I also have, just because I said I'm a little extra sometimes, I actually brought a portable steamer. This is a portable steamer and it's super, super lightweight. I personally travel a lot, so I know that I'm gonna be wanting to keep all the wrinkles out of my stuff. So this I think is gonna come in handy, especially since I packed a lot in my suitcase and everything was really smushed, and this is just gonna be an ugly mess. I did that. And always, I think this is really important, always carry a small, see how small, very small, little tripod. This one I got at Best Buy for 25 bucks. It's not my favorite, to be honest, but you can also get Amazon Basics for $16. I have one of those too. I just forgot it. Keep the tag on it and return it if you have to. But it's important to make sure that it has a cell phone holding clip here, this thing, to attach your cell phone. So those are some of my must bring with me every time I travel, as well as just a little black dress, just in case you need to look fancy, but keep it casual. You're not trying to look real good. Keep it casual, keep it classy, because I feel there's always a need for a black dress in an audition. Now it's time to set up. Do the important side first. Don't tell anybody that you're poking holes in their wall. Make the holes in places where they're really not gonna see it, right above the door frame here. No one's ever gonna see that, unless you tell them. Boom! I'm actually gonna do the bottom as well, because I feel there could be pulled. So pin the bottom. And now, time for handy dandy steamer. This actually looks pretty good, but I'm out of breath. I think it could look better if we didn't have all the wrinkles. Everyone's good at self-taping now, so you wanna have your self-tape be as best and as competitive as possible. So what I actually did was I took out the bottom pin and decided to steam behind the curtain. That way all the additional steam gets trapped in between the wall and the sheet, so it gets all that stuff, because I feel on the outside where I was when I first started, the steam was just going up into the ceiling and it wasn't doing anything. I didn't do the whole thing because, I'm not gonna be using the whole thing, so you can see the difference. Boom, boom, But I want to address what I know you're thinking. Well, if you're going to be out of town, why don't you just book out? Okay, let's be real. How many times have you booked out and you still get an audition? You could submit for something like 4 weeks ago and then you never hear anything, and you're like, I'm gonna go on my vacation, see you later, peace out. And then all of a sudden you get an audition and you're like, fuck, like, what are you gonna do? Are you just not gonna audition? Like, all the work you've put into it, all the work your agents have put into it, just do a little setup and do your audition, okay? And now that we're pretty much set up, I think it's time to go get dressed and ready as best as you can. Okay, I am dressed and ready. I actually went and browsed in a closet and found this little orange dress, which I thought would actually be better with the gray backdrop than the black dress. So I'm wearing that instead. I want to tell you, I had to steam again because what happened was when I put my tripod, this here, I put it up, it only went to about like yay high, and obviously that's not gonna work for my audition unless I wanted to like squat. I could sit, which would obviously be the easiest thing to do, but for the purpose of this video, I thought let's go ahead and show everyone how I would set up if I had an audition with some movement. So what I did was, it's a little janky, but you know, you do what you gotta do. I actually went and got some shoe boxes and I put the legs, these, of my tripod on some shoe boxes to give it a little bit of a lift. The video is still not quite the height that I want, but I will just casually bend my legs a tiny bit. And when I put the tripod up, I also realized that I was seeing a ton of wall space, which I didn't want to do. Therefore, I had to move everything over. And when I moved it over, it was all this ugly stuff again. So that's why I had to steam again. And last but not least, I wanted to show you really quickly why it was so important to find a window as opposed to using the lights. So see how I have like natural light, natural color? When I turn on the lights, it's a warmer, it's a tungsten color. I guess it's not like terrible. I just think it turns a little bit too warm and a little bit too orange. So I would prefer to do natural light, which is natural, it's a little bit more blue. And then if the video's too dark, then I'm gonna like bump up the exposure afterwards. So yeah, I think you're ready to tape. I think you're ready to go. You know, I think people will give you slack, seeing how you're at home, and not everyone has a studio. So this is what you're gonna get. Okay, this is the final version, the final results of this episode. There's a little bit of wrinkles, but I think it's passable. I think the lighting is pretty clear, it's pretty even. I don't think there's a lot of distractions, and I hope you learned something. I hope maybe you have something to add, some better suggestions, and always turn your camera horizontal. Okay, see you guys on the next one.